Good morning, dear students. Myself, Dr. Savita Tidme. I welcome you all in our next lecture of economic zoology subject. In that, we have already completed our first chapter, that is animal husbandry. Now, today we'll start with the second chapter, that is economic importance of insect. And especially in this, we'll be focusing the apiculture, economic importance of apiculture. Let's move ahead. Now, economic importance of insects. Okay, someone may think whether insects are useful to us or not. Okay, so as insects and their byproducts, they are sometimes useful to us and sometimes harmful to us also. And both useful as well as harmful in one way, they causes either benefit or either hazard. That means either they are financially or economically important to us in terms of they are getting or they are giving you some revenue or money, or they are causing your loss. So they are economically important insects, right? Hence a study of such a economically important insect is included in this economic zoology. Now some insects which are economical to us or beneficial to us, like apiculture, that is the honeybees. Yes, so honeybees, their honey wax is obviously useful to us. Every day we have use or applications of honey in many ways, like for the treating of the sore throat, for the ulceration, mouth ulceration. The honey is again useful, even it is a complete diet. So it is useful to us. Hence, the economic importance of apiculture is included. Then lac insect, Lacifera laca, which generate or produces the lac, which is used in sealing purpose. Even that is quite useful, right? So it is included even in the sericulture. Outcome is silk. Okay, it is used for the, you can say, garment industries, right? So it is included in your syllabus. Even household insects, just like the cockroaches are there, even your mosquitoes, right? And home dwelling ant, they are also useful to us because they are dwelling in your houses. Even they are dwelling in the dirty places, carrying a lot of germs on their body and deposit them into the human house, human food stuff or utensils. So responsible somewhere in producing disease in human being. So they are economically important to us. Even stored grain paste ultimately, like the floor beetle, or you can say rice weevil or a pulse beetle, like that. So they used to destroy grains completely, right, making them unfit for human consumption. So ultimately the stored grain paste, their study is also important. Even lastly, the agricultural pest, right? In the agriculture, a lot of pest organisms are there. If you go to the agriculture, any one of the field, so you will find some kind of aphids, thrips, stem borer, fruit borer, okay, nectar feeding insects are there. Even means a lot of insects are there. Some insects, they are also destroying the root, okay, leaf cutter are there. So number of insects are there which serving as a paste for the agriculture and destroying the agricultural crop, ultimately result in less productivity, less yield. So this point hence included in your syllabus, study of agricultural pest as an economically important insect, right? Let's move ahead. Now apiculture. Okay, so apiculture, if you just listen the terminology, apiculture, what comes in front of your eyes? Honeybees, right? So like this, honeybees comes in front of your eyes. So apiculture, it means a cultivation of the bees on a commercial scale for the production of honey. Okay, cultivation of the bees on a commercial scale for the production of honey is said to be apiculture. Now we'll not go in much detail of the morphology, bee morphology, but in short, we'll just go through the morphology, right? So, if you see this diagram or image of the honeybee, what you can see? You can see here the body is divisible into head, thorax, and abdomen. The head is very well developed and it is hypognathous or it is prognathous. What is the type of head orientation? It is hypognathous, parallel to the body axis, right? The head shows well developed compound eyes. A pair of compound eyes is there. Even this compound eyes means what? It means a eye is composed of a number of facets, and all these facets or ommatidia forms a part of image, and all together forms a complete image of an object, right? So a pair of compound eye is there, a pair of antennae is there. Antennae, as it is covered with the bristles, okay, it is also helpful for gathering of the pollen grains. So this type of antennae is geniculate antennae, okay. And mouth parts, very well developed mouth parts they have for the crushing of the pollen with the honey and for preparation of the bee bread. So cutting type of mouth part is there. And then thorax. Thorax, three segmented thorax is there: pro, meso, and metathorax. Okay, and they have two pairs of wings, forewings and hind wings. Forewings is present on the mesothorax, not on the prothorax. Okay, prothorax it do not bears any kind of wing. So wings they are present on the meso and metathorax, and three pairs of legs are there, each of which is present on a respective thoracic segment. That is prothoracic leg present on prothorax, meso on the mesothorax, metathoracic legs on the metathorax. Right? Now these three legs they are having some characteristic features. What characteristic features they do have? The first leg shows or it bears antenna cleaner, right? Antenna cleaner. As what I said that the entire body is covered with the bristles, right? Entire body of the honeybee is covered with the bristles, and when it visits to the flower, bristles they capture the pollen grains. Pollen grains get attached to the bristle, including antennae. Even on the antennae, number of pollen grains they get attached. So as to collect the pollen grain from the antennae, antenna cleaner is there. That means there is a notch-like structure present on the tibia here at this point, right? Antenna just pass through this antenna cleaner. All the pollen grains they will get separated. And on the second leg, that is mesothoracic leg, there is a pollen spur on the tibia. Here is a pollen spur present, right? And that pollen spur used for removal of the pollen grains from the pollen basket. Okay, and on the third leg, that is metathoracic leg, what is there? Pollen basket is there, which is often loaded with the pollen grains. Okay, and the workers they have very well developed sting apparatus. Ovipositor develops into sting apparatus. So workers they do not bear ovipositor or they are not able to reproduce. So that's all about the morphology in a brief. Let's move ahead and see the colony organization and polymorphism. The honeybees are present an example of a social and organized living. The member of a colony are well differentiated into three categories, or you can say three castes, that is workers, queen, and drones, right? So average size of the colony is variable, means the number of individuals present in a colony is variable, right? 40,000 per colony, 40,000 members per colony, or maximum up to 80,000 individual per colony in extreme cases. Okay, so the size of the colony is always means it is sometimes variable, and somewhere it is related with the availability of a food material. Now let's see all these category, or you can see the members of the colony one by one. Okay, before that, why it is called as a polymorphism? Poly means many, morphism, morphological forms, right? Morphological forms. So in a colony, in a hive, different types of, so like this, a colony is there, And in this colony, different types of morphological forms are existing, like the workers, queen, and drone. They can easily differentiate with the help of their morphological characteristics. So this polymorphism is very well studied in the honeybees. Let's see the all these categories one by one. Even if you see the queen of the colony, okay, so queen is the largest member of the colony, but they have largest body size but small legs and weak wings, so they are unable to fly. The queen bee is a real ruler of the hive, right? Why real ruler of the hive? Because the queen is going to control, going to regulate the colony. Okay, she has an extended abdomen. If you able to notice this in this diagram, the abdomen of the queen is quite extended as compared to the workers, right? And that abdomen is full of eggs, and the last segment is modified as an ovipositor. Okay, so through the ovipositor, eggs they are laid out, and she has no work in the colony except the egg laying. Okay, so egg laying is important, egg laying as well as eating. We cannot forget the eating. So egg laying and eating is important work, goes to the queen. She lives for about, if you see the lifespan of the queen as compared to drone and workers, the queen's lifespan is very high, like 3 to 4 years the queen can survive. And within that 3 to 4 years of the lifespan, the queen can lays about the 14,000 to 14 lakh to 15 lakhs of the eggs during her entire lifespan, with the average of 1,500 to 2,000 eggs per day. Okay, just calculate 1,500 or 2,000 eggs per day for about 3 to 4 years. Yes. So the number of eggs laid by the queen in entire lifespan, means adult lifespan, is 14 lakh to 15 lakh. Okay. So the rate of egg laying under favorable conditions may be this one, 2,000, or under unfavorable condition it reduces to 1,500. Okay. And if you see this queen, generally only one queen is found in the comb. But in case when her egg laying capacity is reduced, she can be changed and replaced by the another one queen, right? Okay. Now you can just think why the queen has got so much egg laying capacity as compared to workers, because the queen is means the larvae of the queen is fed on the royal jelly for entire larval span. Okay, and the royal jelly makes this queen, or royal jelly makes the larvae into a highly developed abdominal queen, so that the queen has got the enormous capacity of egg laying, right? Now drones. So these drones are only the male member of the colony, and even you can say they have only two works for the colony, that is eating in the colony, doing nothing work for the colony, as well as whenever there is a swarming. Swarming is nothing but a nuptial flight, or it is also called as a marriage flight. When the young virgin queen, means a new queen of the colony, go out with some workers and drones, okay, for the marriage flight, one of the drone member got a chance to uh, copulate with the queen, and the drone dies immediately after. And then this young virgin queen either back to the same hive, or either construct new hive. Okay, so the lifespan of the drone is about 60 days and have no sting apparatus. Okay, and the workers, if you see the workers, their number is very, very high in the colony, near about 90%, or you can say more than 90% of the total population present in the hive or in the honeycomb is of workers, right? So more than 90% workers. Can you imagine the strength of the worker? These workers are the atrophied female, means they are the sterile females which are unable to lay eggs, and they even sacrifice their total lifespan for the colony, that is serving of the colony as well as for the feeding of the hive, feeding of the queen, and taking care of the hive and all resident of the hive. Okay, so they are performing a lot of duties for the hive, outside the hive, inside the hive. Okay, so their names are also different, like the nurse bees, then the, you can say, the soldier bees, forager bees, likewise. Different categories are there. These categories are on the basis of work performed by them. Even they have a very um, well developed sting apparatus. So sting apparatus is very well developed in case of a worker, whereas it is not seen in the queen. Not seen means it is absent in the queen and absent in the drone. So ultimately, if a insect you pass through just colony or nearby the colony, and one of the honeybee bite you or sting you, what will happen, or what is your calculation? Is it drone? Is it worker, or it is the queen? It is obviously worker, because the worker is only having very well developed sting apparatus. Rest of two members, that is queen and the drones, they don't have sting apparatus, right? Okay, then here you can see the hive, means a part of hive. All these are nothing but the workers, and they are doing their duties, right? All these hexagonal shells, they are filled with the honey. This is actually the storage chamber. Okay, all these hexagonal shells, you can see these are filled with the honey, and these members, they are checking it whether any kind of mold or fungal growth is there. All the shells, means all the storage compartments are good, healthy enough. If this honey is maturing, or yes, they are taking entire care of the hive, right? Storage, even cleanliness, even maintenance, everything is doing by the workers. Okay, so the workers, they are, you can say, important, very important member of the colony for initial few days, that is 1 to 14 days of their life, when they are young one, right? When they are younger, they are allotted indoor duties. What do you mean by indoor duties? Indoor duties means whatever work performed within the hive, within the house, right? Like nurse bees. Nurse bees, they are younger one, and they have to secrete a royal jelly by, or you can say with the help of hypopharyngeal gland, and that royal jelly is nothing but a milky white secretion that is fed to the queen and the grubs, right? Even cleanliness of the colony, entire things they are looking after in initial few days, and then later on they are sent out. Okay, let's go ahead and see the life cycle in a short, in a brief. Okay, so here is a chart representing life cycle of the honey bees. Okay, here you can see particular egg, larva, pupa, and adult, queen, drone, and workers. This is summarized table. Okay, these are the adult, then larva, and pupa. You can see here what kind of hive is there. It is just a representative diagram so as to understand this sequence. Okay, your eggs are loaded, then larva comes out of which enters in next developmental stage, that is pupation, and then pupa emerges into adult, right? Or adult emerges out of the pupa. Now, let's discuss this table. Here, the larval means whatever eggs laid by the queen, okay, in shells means, okay. Alright. Let's spend a few minutes here. Okay, in a hive, what is that? In a hive, okay, consider this small hive. Okay, consider this small hive. Here you can see easily the difference between the shells, or you can say the compartments on the upper side which are slightly larger, the compartments on the lower side which are slightly smaller than these few compartments. And you can say the larger compartments are for the drones, and they are very few because the number of drone in a hive is always less, right? And the number of workers in a hive are always more, so the smaller compartment number is very high. Here you can see the large cell, that is a queen cell. Only few queen cells are there, one or two or sometimes three queen cells can be found in a colony, which are usually to the peripheral side of the hive, right? And the queen cells, they are larger to the workers as well as drones, right? So in this way the hive is very well perfectly designed, and whenever the queen, when she is on the larger queen cell, larger drone cells, so she get no, this is means she has to lay unfertilized egg. So unfertilized egg is laid into the drone cells, and drones, they develop from unfertilized egg by the process of parthenogenesis. When the queen is on the smaller sized shells or compartment, she recognize that, and she get know that she has to lay the fertilized egg into these chambers. So ultimately fertilized eggs are laid into the shells of, or you can say, hexagonal facets of the worker. Okay, and when she is on the larger queen cell, she always lays the fertilized egg. So okay. So when the eggs are laid into the hexagonal facets, right? On an average, all the eggs, they undergoes incubation for about 3 days. It is not like egg is laid and then immediately it will hatch on the second day. No, incubation period is required. Okay, so as to develop the embryo inside it. So 3 days incubation is common for all, that is queen, worker, and drone, right? And when after third day larva comes out, okay, when the larva comes out of the egg, what happened? The larval lifespan of the queen is only for 5 days, and the larval lifespan of the drone and workers, they are, see, 7 days for the drone and 4 to 5 days for the workers, right? And during that 5 days larval span, the queen larvae is totally fed on the royal jelly, whereas these two members, they are fed on the royal jelly for initial 2 to 3 days. Later on, they are fed on the bee bread, that is the mixture of pollen and honey, for rest of their larval period, and that food makes difference in the body size of the queen and workers. Then pupa, after these larval periods, the larva, last instar larva, becomes quiescent, and further movement is stopped, feeding is stopped, and it goes to pupation. It undergoes pupation. So pupal life is also variable for these three castes. The queen took less days for the pupation, 7 to 8 days for the queen. Drone requires 14 days. Maximum lifespan means maximum days of the days as compared to these two members. And even the workers, they complete their pupal life in just 11 to 12 days. After completion of the pupal life, adult emerges out of the pupa. So the adult, that is queen, survive for about 3 to 4 years, whereas the drones, they survive for about 2 to 3 months, or on an average 2 months, and the workers, they survive for about 2 to 3 months. Okay, this is what the general and short lifespan of the honeybees. In our next lecture, we'll be studying with the economic importance of apiculture. Okay, sure. See you. Bye bye.